I'm truly glad you found your way here. Welcome to Sleep Science Space, a place where nothing is demanded of you, and yet so much is happening beneath the surface. Even now, as you listen, your body is healing itself in silence, repairing damage and restoring balance while you simply exist. Science is only beginning to understand this hidden healing process, and what it reveals is profound. Your mind may be the most powerful medicine you will ever possess, so allow yourself to settle in. This is your safe space. Your brain is already at work gently clearing toxins, recalibrating neural pathways, and preparing you for tomorrow. Give yourself permission to pause in this moment of calm. Together, we'll journey through 100 psychology based insights about deep sleep and renewal, exploring the invisible cellular repairs happening right now, how true rest creates lasting change, and how intention quietly transforms into healing. This thoughtful journey through consciousness connects searching minds across the world, and even a soft like or a shared thought helps guide other tired souls. Here, protecting this sanctuary one sleeper at a time. Your healing journey strengthens ours. Now let yourself sink completely into this space. Feel your jaw soften, your breath deepen naturally, without effort. Thoughts don't need to be held. They can drift by like distant clouds. Notice that soothing heaviness spreading through your body as if the brightness of consciousness is slowly dimming. Thoughts dissolve into the gentle fog that arrives just before sleep. You are safe. You are undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You are floating where memories rate quietly held in a kind velvety darkness. Let your awareness merge with a sense of infinite peace. And now we begin. Deep sleep is the most restorative phase of your nightly rest. Scientists call it stage 3 non-REM sleep, or slow wave sleep, named for the large, powerful delta waves your brain produces during this time. Research updated in 2024 shows that adults typically spend about 20 to 25% of their total sleep in deep sleep, though this varies with age and individual biology. During this stage, brain activity slows, dramatically shifting from the fast rhythms of waking life to just 1 or 2 cycles per second. This is when your body performs its most intensive repair work. Blood pressure drops, breathing becomes slow and rhythmic, and muscles release completely. The pituitary gland releases growth hormone, supporting tissue repair, cellular renewal, and physical recovery throughout your body. Most deep sleep occurs in the first half of the night, with cycles gradually decreasing as morning approaches. This stage is so essential that without it, you can wake feeling exhausted no matter how many hours you spend in bed. Deep sleep is also when your brain cleanses itself. Studies confirmed in 2024 show that during deep sleep, the glymphatic system, a waste clearance network unique to the brain, becomes highly active. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through brain tissue in slow, rhythmic waves driven by oscillations of norepinephrine, washing away metabolic waste that builds up during the day. Among these waste products is beta amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease when it accumulates over time. Late 2024 human studies provided strong evidence of this process helping explain why chronic sleep deprivation is associated with higher dementia risk. Think of it as a cleaning crew that only works at night, quietly moving through empty hallways once everything else has shut down. Without sufficient deep sleep, that crew never arrives, and waste remains potentially affecting cognition years later. Deep sleep is also where memories are secured. Throughout the day, your brain encodes experiences, facts, and skills into temporary storage within the hippocampus. During deep sleep, these memories are gradually transferred to the neocortex for long term storage, a process neuroscientists call systems consolidation. This is how learning becomes lasting knowledge, how experience turns into understanding, and how today reshapes your mind for tomorrow. Research released in late 2024 using advanced brain imaging techniques revealed that this transfer of memory happens in exquisitely timed bursts of neural activity. While you sleep, the hippocampus rapidly replays the experiences of your day, almost like a fast forwarded recording, and the cortex listens carefully, weaving that information into your existing networks of knowledge. Skills you practiced begin to feel smoother and more automatic. Facts you studied settle into place and become easier to recall. This is why students who sleep well after learning consistently outperform those who stay up late cramming. The sleeping brain is not idle. It is actively reshaping itself, optimizing its wiring, and quietly making you smarter. Deep sleep also strengthens your immune system in powerful, measurable ways. Studies published in 2024 showed that people who get sufficient deep sleep produce higher levels of T cells, the white blood cells that identify and destroy invading pathogens, compared to sleep deprived individuals. During deep sleep, your body increases the release of cytokines, signaling proteins that help regulate inflammation and coordinate immune responses. This is why when illness begins, your body naturally craves more sleep. Those quiet hours become a form of internal medicine, allowing healing to unfold from the inside out while you rest. In one striking experiment, researchers monitored participants' sleep for a week and then exposed them to the common cold virus. Those who slept fewer than 6 hours per night were nearly 4 times more likely to become ill than those who slept 7 hours or more. The link is so strong that even a single night of severely disrupted sleep can temporarily weaken immune defenses. Your immune system, quite literally, relies on slow brain waves to function at its best. Deep sleep also plays a critical role in emotional balance. When you're sleep deprived, the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm center, becomes overactive, responding up to 60% more intensely to negative stimuli. Neuroimaging studies from 2024 show that deep sleep helps recalibrate this system. During slow wave sleep, the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, becomes stronger and more stable. This strengthened pathway allows you to meet stress and challenges with greater calm and less reactivity. Over time, people who consistently get enough deep sleep report lower anxiety, fewer mood swings, and healthier, more resilient relationships. They aren't simply less irritable on the surface. Their brains are genuinely better equipped to process emotions in healthy, balanced ways. This is why the phrase sleep on it is more than casual advice when facing difficult decisions or emotional conflict. The sleeping brain naturally restores emotional equilibrium, smoothing out the sharp edges left by stress and fatigue. Physical restoration also reaches its peak during deep sleep. Your muscles don't merely pause, they actively rebuild. Human growth hormone released primarily during deep sleep triggers protein synthesis throughout the body. Muscle fibers stressed during the day repair and strengthen. Bones reinforce their structure. Skin cells regenerate at a faster rate. Athletes who prioritize deep sleep consistently show better performance and quicker recovery than those who don't. In a 2024 study of professional basketball players, extending sleep to maximize deep sleep improved free throw accuracy by about 9% and 3-point shooting by nearly 10%. But these benefits go far beyond sports. Wound healing accelerates during deep sleep. Even your digestive system performs its own repairs more efficiently at night. Over thousands of years, the human body has evolved to use these quiet hours of delta wave activity as its primary maintenance window. As consciousness withdraws, cellular renewal intensifies. Blood sugar regulation also depends heavily on sufficient deep sleep. When slow wave sleep is lacking, insulin sensitivity drops significantly, sometimes by as much as 30% after just a few nights of poor sleep, according to metabolic studies published in 2024. This means your cells struggle to use glucose efficiently, causing blood sugar levels to rise, even if your diet hasn't changed. Over time, this disruption substantially increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Deep sleep appears to reset key metabolic systems, improving the body's ability to process carbohydrates effectively. While the underlying mechanisms involve complex hormonal signaling, the practical takeaway is simple. Consistent deep sleep acts as a natural metabolic regulator, helping maintain healthy blood sugar levels. This is one reason sleep quality matters just as much as diet and exercise when it comes to preventing metabolic disease. Cardiovascular health also improves measurably with regular deep sleep. During slow wave sleep, heart rate typically drops by 10 to 30 beats per minute compared to waking levels, and blood pressure decreases by 10 to 20%, a phenomenon cardiologists call nocturnal dipping. This nightly slowdown gives the cardiovascular system a critical opportunity to recover from the day's demands. People who fail to experience this dip, often due to insufficient deep sleep, face significantly higher risks of heart disease and stroke. Research published in 2024 found that adults averaging fewer than 5 hours of sleep per night had a 60% higher risk of developing cardiovascular disease over the following decade compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours with adequate deep sleep. Your heart quite literally depends on these slow brain waves to remain resilient over time. Deep sleep also plays a key role in appetite regulation and weight management. Two hormones, leptin and ghrelin, control hunger and fullness. Leptin signals satiety, while ghrelin triggers appetite. When deep sleep is disrupted, leptin levels fall and ghrelin rises, creating a hormonal imbalance that can increase appetite by as much as 25%. This effect is especially strong when it comes to high calorie, carbohydrate rich foods. Research published in 2024 found that people who consistently miss out on deep sleep consume an average of 300 extra calories per day compared to those who sleep well. Over weeks and months, that surplus quietly accumulates, leading to significant weight gain. The underlying mechanism appears to involve the hypothalamus, a region of the brain that regulates both sleep and an appetite. When deep sleep is compromised, this system loses its balance. Prioritizing deep sleep, then, isn't just about feeling rested, it's a foundational pillar of healthy weight regulation. Learning capacity also improves dramatically after nights rich in deep sleep. The sleeping brain doesn't only strengthen what you already know, it prepares itself to learn again. During slow wave sleep, synaptic connections that were reinforced during the day become stabilized while weaker, less useful connections are gently pruned away. This process, known as synaptic homeostasis, clears mental space, making room for new information the following day. Studies show that students who get adequate deep sleep before studying can learn at up to 40% more efficiently than those who are sleep deprived. This advantage applies across all forms of learning, from factual knowledge and motor skills to creative problem solving and emotional intelligence. The implications are profound. If you want to learn a new language, master a musical instrument, or develop a professional skill, deep sleep is just as important as the hours you spend practicing. Sleep teaches us a simple truth. Growth often happens when effort stops. Your brain also undergoes remarkable physical changes during deep sleep. Using advanced MRI technology, in 2024, researchers discovered that the brain's interstitial space, the tiny gaps between cells, expands by as much as 60% during slow wave sleep. This expansion creates the physical room needed for cerebrospinal fluid to flow freely through the glymphatic pathways, greatly enhancing waste removal. As you drift from wakefulness into deep sleep, neurons actually shrink slightly, opening wider channels for this cleansing fluid to circulate. It's as if your brain redesigns its own architecture at night, widening the hallways specifically for maintenance work. This process is so fundamental that it appears across species from mice to humans. When you wake up feeling mentally clear, it's partly because your brain has quite literally made more space for itself overnight, clearing away debris left behind by a day of thinking. Deep sleep also strengthens the neural pathways associated with skills you practice during the day. Musicians who learn a new piece and then sleep often perform it significantly better the next day, even without additional practice. The same effect is seen in athletes refining techniques, students memorizing material, and anyone developing a new ability. During slow wave sleep, the brain rehearses these patterns repeatedly at a neural level. Recent brain imaging studies captured this offline practice in action, showing bursts of activity in the motor cortex that closely mirror the patterns observed during real waking practice. This neural rehearsal unfolds faster than real time, allowing your brain to explore refinements and variations thousands of times while you remain unconscious. Mastery then isn't built solely through waking repetition. It depends just as much on allowing your sleeping brain the time and conditions it needs to integrate, optimize, and perfect what you've learned. Deep sleep also acts as a powerful anti inflammatory force throughout the body. Chronic low grade inflammation is a silent contributor to many modern illnesses, from arthritis and heart disease to depression and accelerated aging. During deep sleep, your body reduces the production of pro inflammatory cytokines while increasing molecules that actively suppress inflammation. Research published in 2024 measuring inflammatory markers found that people who consistently achieve sufficient deep sleep show significantly lower levels of C reactive protein and interleukin 6 2 major indicators of systemic inflammation. These nightly reductions help prevent inflammatory damage from accumulating over time. In a very real sense, your body uses the calm of slow brain waves to quiet biological fires that would otherwise burn slowly and continuously. Deep sleep also plays a critical role in how you experience pain. People who lack adequate slow wave sleep become more sensitive to pain, with pain thresholds dropping by as much as 15 to 20% after just one night of poor sleep. This occurs because deep sleep helps regulate pain processing circuits in both the brain and spinal cord. The thalamus, which relays pain signals, becomes less reactive after restorative sleep. At the same time, deep sleep supports the release of the body's own natural pain relieving compounds. For individuals living with chronic pain, improving sleep quality can reduce pain intensity more effectively than some medications. The relationship runs both ways. Pain disrupts sleep, and poor sleep amplifies pain. Breaking this cycle by prioritizing deep sleep can dramatically improve daily functioning and quality of life. Creativity, too, flourishes after nights rich in deep sleep. While REM sleep often receives credit for creative insight, deep sleep lays the groundwork by consolidating the raw materials of creativity, the facts, experiences, and patterns that the brain later recombines into something new. Studies from 2024 showed that participants who achieved sufficient deep sleep before creative tasks produced more original ideas and formed more distant, unexpected connections between concepts. During deep sleep, the prefrontal cortex, which usually enforces logic and restraint, quiets down. This allows more flexible neural connections to emerge. Throughout history, artists, writers, and scientists have sensed this truth intuitively. The sleeping brain doesn't merely rest, it reorganizes knowledge in ways that make breakthroughs possible. Stress hormones also fall sharply during deep sleep. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, normally peaks in the early morning and declines throughout the day. Deep sleep helps keep cortisol levels low overnight, giving the body a rare window free from stress response activation. When deep sleep is disrupted, cortisol remains elevated at night, robbing the body of this essential recovery period. Chronically high cortisol contributes to anxiety, weight gain, weakened immunity, and cognitive decline. By consistently achieving deep sleep, your body receives a powerful signal of safety. Stress systems power down, allowing true restoration before the challenges of a new day. Bone health also depends more on sleep than many realize. During deep sleep, growth hormone stimulates calcium absorption and bone formation while slowing bone breakdown. Studies of shift workers and individuals with chronic sleep disorders show faster loss of bone density compared to good sleepers. The connection is strong enough that sleep quality predicts fracture risk independently of other factors. For older adults concerned about osteoporosis, prioritizing deep sleep can be just as important as calcium intake and weight bearing exercise. Your skeleton quietly rebuilds itself overnight using those still horizontal hours to reinforce its structure. Over a lifetime, consistent deep sleep contributes to stronger bones and greater resilience in later years. Even gut health improves with regular deep sleep. Your intestinal microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living inside your digestive tract, follows daily rhythms closely tied to your sleep wake cycle. Poor or irregular sleep disrupts these microbial patterns, which can contribute to digestive discomfort, immune imbalance, and systemic inflammation. Deep sleep helps keep these rhythms aligned, supporting a healthier gut environment and, in turn, a healthier body as a whole. During deep sleep, the lining of your gut repairs itself more efficiently, and the delicate balance between beneficial and harmful bacteria begins to stabilize. Recent research shows that people with chronic sleep disorders often have less diverse gut microbiomes, a pattern linked to a wide range of health issues. The gut brain axis works in both directions. Your gut influences how you sleep, and your sleep reshapes your gut. By prioritizing deep sleep, you help preserve this essential internal ecosystem that quietly supports immunity, mood, and metabolism. Social connection and empathy also improve after a night of truly restorative sleep. When you are well rested, your brain becomes more attuned to the emotions of others and better able to interpret social cues accurately. Sleep deprived individuals show reduced activity in brain regions responsible for emotional recognition, making them more likely to misread neutral expressions as threatening and less able to detect subtle emotional signals. Deep sleep helps recalibrate these social and emotional circuits. Studies published in 2024 found that well rested people were consistently perceived as more attractive, trustworthy, and approachable. Your relationships quite literally benefit from your commitment to deep sleep because genuine connection requires presence, and presence requires rest. Body temperature regulation during the night plays a critical role in deep sleep quality. Your core temperature naturally drops by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit as you sleep, reaching its lowest point during deep sleep. This cooling is essential for entering and maintaining slow wave sleep. Research consistently shows that sleeping in a slightly cool environment, around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, supports longer and more restorative deep sleep than warmer conditions. This is why you may feel too warm at first under the covers only to need them later. Your body is constantly adjusting temperature to protect your sleep architecture, and supporting this natural cooling process can significantly enhance deep sleep duration. Athletic performance depends heavily on sufficient deep sleep. Beyond physical repair, deep sleep influences coordination, reaction time, accuracy, and endurance. Professional athletes who track their sleep often find that deep sleep duration predicts next day performance more accurately than total hours slept. Even a single night of poor sleep can reduce sprint speed and endurance by up to 5%, with effects that compound over time. Sleep is not passive recovery, it is active preparation. During deep sleep, the nervous system fine tunes motor control, making movements more precise and efficient. Mental health is also deeply intertwined with deep sleep quality. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, and post traumatic stress disorder are all associated with disrupted sleep architecture, particularly reduced slow wave sleep. The relationship is bidirectional. Mental health challenges disrupt deep sleep, and insufficient deep sleep intensifies emotional symptoms. New therapeutic approaches increasingly treat sleep optimization as a core intervention. In some cases, improving deep sleep reduces depressive symptoms as effectively as traditional treatments. Emotional resilience is rebuilt each night in those slow, rhythmic brain waves. The mind cannot heal what sleep does not restore. Adequate deep sleep also slows cellular aging. Telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes that naturally shorten with age, deteriorate more rapidly in people with chronic sleep deprivation. Studies show that adults who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours per night have significantly shorter telomeres than those who sleep 7 to 8 hours even after controlling for other lifestyle factors. Deep sleep appears especially protective, likely due to its role in DNA repair and reducing oxidative stress. While sleep won't make you immortal, it genuinely influences the pace of biological aging at the cellular level. Decision making quality improves markedly after sufficient deep sleep. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, judgment, and impulse control, is particularly vulnerable to sleep loss. With adequate deep sleep, this region regains its ability to weigh consequences, clearly resist impulsive choices, and navigate complex decisions with greater wisdom and restraint. After a night of poor sleep, people tend to make riskier financial choices, favor immediate rewards over long term benefits, and struggle with complex problem solving. Deep sleep supports the consolidation of working memory and the cognitive flexibility required for sound judgment. This is why sleeping on it isn't just folk wisdom, it's a neurological necessity. Clarity doesn't come from force or urgency, it emerges from rest. Sleep pressure builds throughout the day as adenosine, a neurotransmitter that promotes drowsiness, gradually accumulates in the brain. As your neurons burn energy, adenosine levels rise, increasing the drive to sleep. Deep sleep clears this adenosine, fully resetting your system for the next day. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors temporarily, disguising fatigue without removing the underlying need for rest. When caffeine fades, the built up adenosine rushes back in, producing the familiar crash. Deep sleep is the only true reset. Chemical alertness can never replace biological restoration. Let's pause for a moment and gently notice your body. As you exhale, slowly become aware of the countless processes unfolding within you. Trillions of cells working quietly, your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your brain thinking, all without conscious effort. Notice the subtle sensations on your skin, the weight in your muscles, the gentle alignment of your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, intelligent, and self regulating. And now we continue. Deep sleep plays a key role in organizing your episodic memories, the personal experiences that shape your life story. During slow wave sleep, the hippocampus transfers recent events to long term storage in the cortex. But this is not a simple copy and paste process. Instead, the brain integrates new memories with what you already know, forming connections and patterns that often remain hidden during waking thought. This is why problems that felt unsolvable yesterday can seem obvious after a good night's sleep. Your brain has quietly rearranged the information, revealing new relationships. A 2024 study found that sleep improved recall of emotionally neutral information compared to equivalent periods of wakefulness, but emotional memories were enhanced even more strongly. Deep sleep doesn't merely preserve memories, it refines them, highlighting what matters most and weaving your experiences into a more coherent narrative. Hormonal balance across the body also depends on the timing and depth of sleep. Beyond growth, hormone, and cortisol, deep sleep influences thyroid activity, reproductive hormones, and appetite regulating signals governed by the hypothalamus and pituitary gland. These master regulators rely on sleep stage cues to coordinate precise hormonal release. When deep sleep is insufficient or misaligned, as seen in shift work, these rhythms become disrupted, affecting everything from metabolism to fertility. Recent endocrinology research shows that treating sleep disorders often improves hormonal conditions once thought to be purely physical. Your endocrine system evolved with the assumption of regular, restorative, deep sleep. When that assumption is broken, hormonal imbalance follows. The body's chemical messengers depend on the steady rhythm deep sleep provides, cycling and resetting with biological precision. Deep sleep also makes your brain more efficient through a process called synaptic pruning. Learning forms new synaptic connections, the physical links between neurons. But not all of them are equally useful. During slow wave sleep, the brain evaluates these connections, strengthening the ones that matter and gently removing the rest. This process, known as synaptic downscaling, prevents the brain from becoming overloaded with unnecessary connections that would slow processing and waste energy. By morning, your mind is leaner, faster, and better prepared to think clearly and adapt to the day ahead. Think of this process as editing, not just recording. Deep sleep transforms the rough draft of learning into a refined final version. Studies show that after deep sleep, neural networks become more selective, faster, and more efficient. This is why skills feel smoother and more automatic the next day. Weak, inefficient pathways have been trimmed away, leaving behind stronger connections that require less effort and less energy. Learning is not complete when practice ends. It is completed when sleep has done its quiet refinement. Visual processing and spatial memory are also carefully consolidated during deep sleep in highly specific ways. The visual cortex displays distinctive activity patterns during slow wave sleep, replaying and reorganizing visual information gathered throughout the day. This process is especially important for navigation pattern recognition and reading faces. Research on London taxi drivers who must memorize thousands of streets shows heightened deep sleep activity in brain regions responsible for spatial mapping while learning new routes. Similarly, people trained to recognize unfamiliar faces perform significantly better after a full night's sleep. During deep sleep, your brain redraws its internal maps, not only of physical spaces, but also of social environments, visual cues, and spatial relationships. The sleeping brain becomes a cartographer, refining the maps you rely on every day, making tomorrow's journey through familiar territory feel smoother and more intuitive. Muscle memory formation also depends critically on deep sleep following practice. Athletes and musicians have long observed that performance improves after rest, but modern research reveals the mechanism behind it. During deep sleep, the motor cortex shows reactivation patterns that closely mirror the skills practiced earlier. These neural replays happen hundreds of times faster than real movement, allowing rapid refinement. A pianist who practiced a challenging passage 200 times while awake may have their brain rehearse it. It's thousands more times during deep sleep, subtly testing variations and improving efficiency. When they return to the instrument, the movement feels natural, almost effortless. Muscle memory is not built by the body alone. The sleeping brain completes the process, turning deliberate practice into fluid expertise through countless unconscious repetitions. Deep sleep also shapes how emotional memories are stored. Your brain does not remember everything equally. It prioritizes experiences with emotional significance. During slow wave sleep, the amygdala, which processes emotion, and the hippocampus, which encodes memory, communicate extensively. Together, they tag memories with emotional weight, helping explain why intense experiences stand out so vividly. At the same time, deep sleep gradually reduces the emotional charge of those memories while preserving their factual content. This balance is essential for recovering from stress and trauma. Quality sleep after difficult experiences allows you to remember what happened without reliving the full emotional impact. Once again, the sleeping brain acts as an editor, deciding what to keep, what to emphasize, and how much emotional weight each memory should carry. Blood flow throughout the body also shifts dramatically during deep sleep. Overall brain blood flow decreases compared to waking conserving energy, while certain regions receive increased supply. Areas involved in memory consolidation and emotional regulation are prioritized while blood flow to muscles increases to support repair and recovery. Your cardiovascular system dynamically redistributes oxygen and nutrients according to sleep stage, delivering resources exactly where they are needed. This intelligent coordination is why adequate sleep supports both mental clarity and physical recovery at the same time. You cannot fully restore one without the other. Deep sleep serves as the conductor of this nightly symphony, orchestrating which systems receive attention and when so that the entire body wakes restored as a unified whole. Toxin removal during deep sleep extends far beyond the brain and reaches the entire body. While your mind is cleansing itself, your lymphatic system, the vast network responsible for draining waste from tissues, becomes more active as well. Metabolic byproducts that accumulate in muscles, organs, and connective tissue throughout the day are cleared more efficiently during the night. This is one reason poor sleep can leave you feeling physically heavy, stiff, or sluggish the next morning. Your body simply hasn't completed its cleanup cycle. During deep sleep, the glymphatic system of the brain and the lymphatic system of the body work in quiet coordination, forming a whole body cleansing operation. As neural waste is flushed from the brain, cellular debris, inflammatory compounds, and metabolic waste are simultaneously removed from the rest of the body, protecting tissues from long term damage and functional decline. Problem solving ability also improves after deep sleep through a phenomenon known as insight learning. Many people have experienced struggling with a problem that feels impossible only to wake up with a clear solution. This isn't magic, it's the result of new connections forming during sleep. Deep sleep allows the brain to temporarily loosen the logical constraints imposed by the prefrontal cortex during waking hours. This freedom enables deeper brain structures to explore unusual associations between ideas. Studies show that people are up to 30% more likely to solve insight based problems after sleeping than after staying awake for the same amount of time. The sleeping mind roams through mental landscapes that waking logic rarely permits, sometimes uncovering elegant solutions hidden within unconventional connections. Respiratory patterns during deep sleep also play a vital role in whole body restoration. Breathing slows and becomes remarkably regular during slow wave sleep, creating a stable internal rhythm. This steady breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest, digestion, and healing. Through this rhythm, the vagus nerve carries calming signals from the brain to major organs, initiating repair processes throughout the body. Heart rate variability increases during deep sleep, reflecting greater nervous system resilience and adaptability. Each slow breath sends a wave of restorative signals through your system, synchronizing healing from the brain to the gut. Kidney function and fluid balance also adjust during deep sleep. Overnight, the kidneys reduce urine production, which is why uninterrupted sleep usually doesn't require frequent trips to the bathroom. Levels of antidiuretic hormone rise during deep sleep, signaling the kidneys to conserve water while maintaining proper hydration. When sleep is fragmented, this hormonal regulation is disrupted, often leading to increased nighttime urination. For many older adults, improving deep sleep reduces nighttime bathroom visits more effectively than medication. Your body evolved to regulate fluid balance smoothly through the night, but only when sleep architecture remains intact. True restoration depends on continuous rest, and continuous rest depends on the precise biological coordination that deep sleep provides. Insulin sensitivity improves most specifically during deep sleep. Even without eating, your body processes glucose more efficiently at night than during waking hours. This enhanced sensitivity during slow wave sleep helps keep blood sugar stable while you rest. When deep sleep is shortened or fragmented, this metabolic advantage disappears, increasing the risk of glucose intolerance. Multiple hormones work together in this process. Growth hormone cortisol and insulin all follow tightly coordinated rhythms that align with sleep stages. Metabolic health depends on this nightly recalibration. Research shows that even a single night of severely disrupted deep sleep can temporarily push an otherwise healthy person into a pre-diabetic metabolic state. Deep sleep also supports recalibration of the vestibular system, the inner ear network responsible for balance and spatial orientation. Throughout the day, repeated movements can slightly distort these signals. Deep sleep provides the stillness your brain needs to reset them, ensuring accurate balance and coordination the next day. This is why severe sleep deprivation can impair coordination even when muscle strength remains unchanged. Your body needs motionless hours to realign its internal gyroscopes so that movement feels natural and stable again. At the cellular level, deep sleep accelerates autophagy, the process by which cells break down and recycle damaged components. This internal housekeeping is essential for preventing disease and preserving organ function. During autophagy, cells digest worn out proteins and organelles, reusing their building blocks to create healthier structures. Deep sleep triggers the hormonal and metabolic conditions that allow this self cleaning process to reach its peak. The importance of autophagy was recognized with the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016, and recent research confirms that sleep, particularly deep sleep, is when this process is most active. Neurotransmitter balance is also restored during deep sleep. Serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and other chemical messengers that govern mood motivation and attention are gradually depleted during the day. Deep sleep gives neurons the time they need to replenish these chemicals and reset receptor sensitivity. This is why mood focus and mental clarity often feel dramatically improved after a good night's sleep. Without adequate deep sleep, neurotransmitter depletion accumulates, contributing to low mood attention, difficulties, and loss of motivation. Brain chemistry is not static. It requires a nightly reset, and deep sleep provides it. You're still here with me now. Thoughts flicker softly like candlelight. Just notice them, no judgment. We're observing consciousness itself, the very process doing the observing, quiet, curious, and at ease. Let's continue drifting together. Deep sleep deficiency creates a debt that cannot be quickly repaid. Unlike skipping a meal, which can be corrected at the next one, lost deep sleep cannot be fully recovered in a single night. When recovering from sleep deprivation, the body prioritizes total sleep first, meaning deep sleep often remains suppressed even during catch up sleep, leaving the system still in need of true restoration. Research shows that restoring deep sleep after long term deprivation requires multiple consecutive nights of sufficient rest. A single long night or sleeping in on weekends cannot fully undo the accumulated loss. Sleep debt behaves differently from hunger or fatigue. Even when you feel better, the biological consequences can persist beneath the surface. This is why consistency matters more than occasional recovery. Your body depends on deep sleep night after night to maintain balance. Short term compromises in sleep often create long term effects that are difficult to reverse. Long term longevity studies, tracking hundreds of thousands of individuals across decades and cultures, reveal a strikingly consistent pattern. People who regularly sleep 7 to 8 hours per night with adequate deep sleep tend to live longer and experience better overall health than both chronic short sleepers and habitual oversleepers. While genetics and lifestyle choices matter, sleep quality independently predicts lifespan. The reasons are many: stronger immune defenses, lower systemic inflammation, healthier metabolic regulation, and reduced cardiovascular strain. But perhaps most importantly, deep sleep allows every other healthy behavior to work more effectively. Exercise, nutrition, and stress management all depend on sufficient rest. Sleep is not simply one variable among many. It is the foundation supporting them all. Without it, even the best habits lose much of their power. Sleep first. Everything else builds upon it. In the workplace, prioritizing deep sleep improves performance more reliably than most productivity strategies. Studies comparing time management training, motivational techniques, and stimulant use consistently find that improving sleep quality produces larger gains than any single intervention. Well rested individuals make fewer errors, think more clearly, solve problems faster, collaborate more smoothly, and sustain attention for longer periods. Modern culture often overlooks a truth. The body has always known rest enables performance. Organizations that encourage adequate sleep consistently outperform those that reward constant availability. Sometimes the most productive decision is simply to sleep more. Excellence requires restoration. Sustainable success cannot be built on exhaustion. Deep sleep also shapes how you experience physical pain. Clinical research shows that improving sleep quality reduces pain intensity, increases pain tolerance, and lowers reliance on pain medication. In some cases, the effect rivals moderate doses of analgesics without the side effects. For chronic pain conditions such as fibromyalgia, arthritis, and persistent back pain, sleep quality is one of the strongest predictors of daily pain levels. Poor sleep lowers the pain threshold and amplifies pain signaling in the brain. Adequate deep sleep raises that threshold and dampens excessive neural amplification. This does not eliminate pain, but it fundamentally alters how pain is processed and lived with. Sleep does not cure chronic pain, but it changes its impact in meaningful, measurable ways. Learning a new language becomes markedly easier when deep sleep follows study. Vocabulary retention, grammatical pattern, recognition, and pronunciation accuracy all improve after sleep. Recent experiments have shown that playing foreign language audio during deep sleep without conscious awareness can enhance next day vocabulary recall. The sleeping brain continues to analyze linguistic structures, integrating new sounds and patterns into existing language networks. Children learn languages more easily, in part because they experience more deep sleep. As deep sleep declines with age, language learning becomes more difficult. Yet adults who protect their deep sleep retain strong language learning capacity regardless of age. The sleeping brain is inherently linguistic, constantly organizing communication patterns, whether you are awake or not. Finally, sleep quality profoundly influences relationships. Couples who sleep well report higher relationship satisfaction, fewer conflicts, and more positive daily interactions. Sleep deprivation makes people more irritable, less empathetic, and more likely to escalate disagreements. Deep sleep does not only restore the brain and body, it quietly supports emotional regulation, patience, and connection. In this way, sleep becomes a silent partner in every relationship, shaping how we respond to one another night after night. When both partners are sleep deprived, these effects do not merely add up, they amplify each other. Relationship strain increases more sharply, patience erodes more quickly, and misunderstandings become more frequent. Interestingly, research shows that one partner's sleep quality can directly influence the other partner's relationship satisfaction. Sleep disruption creates a ripple effect that moves through emotional dynamics, communication, and conflict resolution. This is especially evident among new parents whose relationship satisfaction often declines in part because of fragmented and insufficient sleep. Protecting deep sleep through good sleep hygiene, flexible schedules or accommodations when partners have different sleep needs is not a luxury. It is an investment in relationship health. Love requires patience, empathy, and emotional regulation. All of these depend on adequate rest. Connection flourishes when both minds are fully restored. Financial decision making also improves dramatically with sufficient deep sleep. Sleep deprived individuals tend to take greater financial risks, overvalue immediate rewards, and struggle to accurately assess long term consequences. Studies of professional traders reveal that those who sleep well make more profitable decisions and incur fewer losses. This occurs because the prefrontal cortex, responsible for complex reasoning, impulse control, and future planning, becomes compromised without adequate deep sleep. The result affects everything from everyday spending habits to major life choices. If you are making important financial decisions, such as buying a home, changing careers, or managing investments, the quality of those decisions is partly determined by how well you have slept recently. Sound money management requires clear thinking, and clear thinking requires restored neural networks. That restoration happens during deep sleep. In a very real sense, your financial future is influenced by how well you sleep tonight. Immune memory formation, the process by which your body learns to recognize and fight infections more effectively in the future, also depends on sleep following illness or vaccination. Specialized immune cells that recognize specific pathogens develop more efficiently during and after deep sleep. This is why medical professionals often recommend rest after vaccination. Your immune system is learning, and learning requires sleep. Research shows that people who maintain adequate sleep after receiving vaccines develop significantly stronger antibody responses, often 30 to 50% higher than those who sleep poorly. The same principle applies to natural infections. When you feel an increased need for sleep while sick, it is not weakness. It is your immune system demanding the conditions required to build lasting protection. Fighting illness requires rest. Immunity requires memory. Memory requires sleep. The benefits of exercise also depend heavily on deep sleep. Physical training produces meaningful improvements only when combined with adequate rest. Athletes who train intensely but sleep poorly often see minimal performance gains and face a higher risk of injury. The growth hormone released during deep sleep is what allows muscles, bones, and connective tissues to adapt and strengthen in response to training stress. Without sufficient deep sleep, exercise becomes more damaging than beneficial. This is why many so called weekend warriors struggle to see progress despite consistent effort. The missing factor is often sleep, not motivation or training volume. The relationship works in both directions. Regular physical activity improves deep sleep quality, and deep sleep allows exercise to actually transform the body. Together, they form a cycle of resilience and strength. They form a virtuous cycle when both are respected and a downward spiral when either is ignored. As we move deeper into this journey, a clear pattern reveals itself. Deep sleep is not merely one health variable among many. It is the foundation upon which every other system depends. Nutrition, exercise, stress regulation, emotional balance, social connection, mental clarity, physical resilience, all of these rely on adequate deep sleep to function as they should. You cannot compensate for poor sleep with flawless nutrition. You cannot outwork exhaustion with discipline or motivation. Biology does not negotiate. Your body requires deep sleep to maintain the systems that keep you alive, alert, emotionally balanced, and capable of pursuing any meaningful goal. Everything else either builds upon this foundation or slowly collapses without it. Pause for a moment and recognize something profound. You exist here now in this exact second, this single breath. While the universe continues its vast expansion, stars forming galaxies, drifting your personal stream of time moves uniquely forward, belonging to no one else. Let each breath anchor you to the present. This moment is the only one that truly belongs to you. It will never repeat. Acknowledge that truth gently, and then we continue drifting onward. Consistency in sleep timing matters more for deep sleep quality than total sleep duration alone. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, strengthens your circadian rhythm and makes it easier to fall asleep and remain in restorative deep sleep. Your internal biological clock, housed in the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus, coordinates thousands of physiological processes based on this rhythm. When sleep timing becomes irregular, as with shift work or social jet lag, the circadian system grows confused. Deep sleep decreases even if total sleep hours appear sufficient. Research published in 2024 shows that people who maintain consistent sleep schedules experience up to 30% more deep sleep than those with irregular timing, despite similar average sleep duration. Your body is wired for predictability. Biological rhythms depend on regularity. Deep sleep rewards consistency. Light exposure patterns also shape deep sleep quality hours later. Bright light, especially blue wavelengths, suppresses melatonin and signals the brain that it is daytime. Morning light exposure strengthens circadian alignment and promotes deeper, more stable sleep at night. In contrast, excessive evening light delays sleep onset and reduces time spent in deep sleep. Studies show that individuals exposed to bright natural light in the morning gain an average of 45 additional minutes of deep sleep compared to those who remain in dim indoor lighting until late afternoon. Light is not merely illumination, it is biological information. How and when you receive it determines how deeply your brain will rest when night arrives. Conversely, exposure to bright screens within the final 2 hours before bedtime can reduce deep sleep by as much as 20 to 30%. This happens because your eyes contain specialized retinal cells designed not for vision, but for timekeeping. These cells detect light and send direct signals to your circadian clock, telling your brain whether it is day or night. As a result, the quality of your sleep tonight is shaped by the light you absorb all day long. Biological darkness must follow biological light. If evening never truly becomes dark, deep sleep struggles to arrive. Consistency in your evening routine sends powerful signals to the brain that sleep is approaching. When you repeat the same calming actions each night, dimming lights, lowering room temperature, reducing noise, and engaging in quiet activities, your brain begins preparing for sleep in advance. Sleep promoting chemicals start to rise even before you lie down. Over time, this conditioning makes it easier to fall asleep and significantly increases deep sleep duration. The exact activity matters less than its predictability and calming nature. Reading, gentle stretching meditation, or quiet conversation all work when practiced consistently. The brain is a master of pattern recognition. Reliable cues create smooth transitions. Deep sleep deepens when the mind expects rest to follow familiar preparation. Caffeine quietly interferes with this process. With a half life of roughly 5 to 6 hours, half of the caffeine from an afternoon coffee is still circulating long after the cup is empty. Even when you no longer feel alert, caffeine continues blocking adenosine receptors in the brain, reducing sleep pressure and fragmenting sleep architecture, especially deep sleep. Research shows that caffeine consumed even 6 hours before bedtime measurably reduces deep sleep duration. Many people believe late day caffeine doesn't affect them because they fall asleep easily, but objective measurements reveal a different story: lighter, less restorative sleep. Morning caffeine has minimal impact for most people, but afternoon intake carries hidden costs that accumulate night after night. Bedroom temperature is another critical factor. Deep sleep requires your core body temperature to drop. For most adults, the ideal sleep environment falls between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperatures above 70 or below 60 can fragment sleep and shorten deep sleep stages. Some studies suggest that cooling devices or lightweight sleepwear can enhance deep sleep even more effectively than room temperature alone. This is why hot environments make sleep feel restless and why you instinctively push a foot out from under the covers. Your body is attempting to release heat to enter deep sleep. Support this natural process. Cooler environments invite deeper rest. Alcohol often masquerades as a sleep aid, but it disrupts sleep architecture profoundly. While it may help you fall asleep faster, alcohol significantly reduces deep sleep, especially during the second half of the night. As your liver metabolizes alcohol roughly 1 drink per hour, sleep becomes increasingly fragmented. What feels like sleep is often shallow and unrestorative. Studies show that even moderate evening drinking can reduce deep sleep by up to 40%. Falling asleep quickly is not the same as sleeping well. Chemical sedation is fundamentally different from natural deep sleep. True restoration requires genuine rest. Exercise timing also plays a nuanced role. Intense workouts within 2 hours of bedtime can delay sleep onset and reduce deep sleep for some people by raising core temperature and activating arousal systems. In contrast, regular moderate exercise earlier in the day, especially in the morning or afternoon, significantly increases deep sleep duration and quality. Even a single exercise session can boost deep sleep that night by up to 75% in certain studies. Morning workouts reinforce circadian rhythms. Afternoon movement helps expend energy that invites deeper rest. Gentle evening practices like yoga or stretching support relaxation. The key is aligning intensity with timing. Finally, stress management directly shapes deep sleep through multiple biological pathways. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, making deep sleep difficult to access. Practices such as meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, breathing exercises, or journaling before bed calm the sympathetic nervous system and ease the transition into deep sleep. Research shows that as little as 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation before bedtime can increase deep sleep by an average of 20 minutes. The mechanism is simple but powerful: reduced rumination and increased parasympathetic activity. A calm mind prepares the body for restoration. Mental quiet precedes physical repair. Peace creates depth. Stillness invites sleep. Electronic devices are especially disruptive to sleep because they emit blue light, a wavelength that suppresses melatonin more powerfully than any other. When you scroll on a phone, watch a tablet, or work on a computer late at night, you are effectively telling your brain that it is still daytime. Circadian rhythms shift later, and deep sleep becomes shorter and more fragile. The good news is that this effect can be reduced. Blue light filters, night mode settings, and blue blocking glasses all soften the signal sent to the brain. Still, the strongest benefit comes from distance. Research consistently shows that people who avoid screens for at least 1 hour before bed achieve noticeably more deep sleep than those who use devices right up until sleep. What you consume matters as much as the light itself. Emotionally charged news, intense conversations, or fast paced content keep neural circuits active long after the screen goes dark. Creating a boundary between technology and sleep is an act of respect for your nervous system. Your brain needs time to prepare for rest, not one last surge of stimulation. Eating habits near bedtime also shape sleep depth. Large meals late at night keep the digestive system working when the body is trying to power down. Digestion demands blood flow and metabolic effort, competing with the processes that initiate deep sleep. Finishing dinner at least 3 hours before bed allows digestion to largely complete before you lie down. At the same time, going to bed overly hungry can be just as disruptive. The balance lies in eating enough earlier in the evening while avoiding late snacks, especially foods high in sugar or fat that require extended digestion. For many people, a small protein rich snack about an hour before bed does not interfere with deep sleep and may even support stability. Timing matters. Balance supports rest. How you breathe during sleep also plays a surprisingly important role. Nasal breathing promotes deeper, more stable sleep than mouth breathing. Air moving through the nose is warmed and filtered, and nasal breathing stimulates nitric oxide production, improving oxygen delivery throughout the body. Mouth breathing often signals partial airway obstruction and is associated with fragmented sleep and reduced deep sleep. Simple interventions such as nasal strips, saline rinses, or adjusting sleep position can improve airflow and enhance sleep depth. If mouth breathing persists, consultation with a sleep specialist or ENT doctor can uncover underlying causes. The pathway of your breath matters. Efficient breathing enables efficient rest. Small adjustments can yield meaningful results. Sleep position can further influence sleep quality, especially for those with breathing difficulties or chronic pain. Side sleeping generally supports better airflow and reduces snoring compared to sleeping on the back. Slight elevation of the head can lessen acid reflux that might otherwise interrupt sleep. What matters most is finding a position that supports spinal alignment and allows you to remain comfortable and pain free through the night. There is no universal best position. The right one is the position that lets your body remain still, relaxed, and uninterrupted. Comfort allows continuity. Continuity allows depth. The sound environment in your bedroom shapes deep sleep more than you might expect. Even though you are not consciously aware of sound, during deep sleep, your brain continues scanning the environment for potential threats. Sudden or inconsistent noises fragment sleep often without fully waking you. Creating a steady auditory backdrop with white noise, a fan, or earplugs reduces surprise and allows the brain to relax its vigilance. Some people sleep best in near silence, others prefer a constant low sound. What matters is predictability. When the auditory system expects stability, sleep becomes deeper and more continuous. Darkness is equally critical. Even low levels of light during the night can suppress melatonin and shorten deep sleep. Streetlights glowing electronics or light spilling in from another room subtly disrupt sleep architecture. Blackout curtains, eye masks, and covering or removing electronic displays help restore the darkness your biology expects. For most of human history, sleep occurred in near total darkness. Modern light pollution works directly against that ancient design. Darkness signals safety. Safety allows full rest. Napping finally can either support or sabotage nighttime deep sleep, depending on how it is used. Short naps around 20 minutes taken early in the afternoon typically do not interfere with nighttime sleep and can improve alertness and mood. Longer or late day naps, however, reduce sleep pressure and make it harder to achieve deep sleep at night. As with so many aspects of sleep, timing and moderation determine whether the effect is helpful or harmful. Used wisely, naps refresh. Used carelessly, they steal depth from the night. Longer naps or naps taken late in the day have a very different effect. They reduce sleep pressure, making it harder for your brain to enter deep sleep at night. For people struggling with insomnia, eliminating daytime naps often leads to noticeable improvements in nighttime sleep quality. This isn't about forcing yourself to stay awake at all costs, but about understanding trade offs. Strategic rest supports your needs without quietly stealing depth from the night. Listening to your body also means understanding how timing shapes biology. The surface you sleep on matters more than most people realize. Mattress and pillow quality directly influence deep sleep by affecting comfort and spinal alignment. Even though you aren't consciously aware of discomfort, during deep sleep, your nervous system still detects pressure points and poor posture. These signals trigger tiny micro arousals that fragment sleep. Replacing a mattress every 7 to 10 years and choosing a pillow that properly supports your neck can measurably increase deep sleep duration. Comfort isn't indulgence, it's physiological support. Proper alignment reduces disruption. Investing in good bedding is an investment in your nervous system's ability to rest. Breathing techniques before bed can gently guide your body toward deep sleep. Slow diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering heart rate and blood pressure. Practices such as the 4-7-8 technique, inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8, or simple, slow, focused breathing create the internal conditions needed for sleep to unfold naturally. The vagus nerve responds to these breathing patterns by sending a signal of safety throughout your body. Conscious slowing invites unconscious rest. Intentional calm comes before natural surrender. Sometimes, however, the mind becomes preoccupied with sleep itself. Thoughts about whether you'll sleep enough or sleep well can quietly turn into the very obstacle they're trying to avoid. Releasing this concern creates space for rest to emerge on its own. Accepting that sleep doesn't need to be perfect often improves it. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia emphasizes this principle. Reducing anxiety about sleep improves sleep outcomes. Your mind needs permission to rest without pressure. Sleep arrives when welcomed, not when demanded. Ease allows what effort blocks. Reading before bed can help bridge the transition from waking to sleep, but content makes all the difference. Stimulating, suspenseful, or emotionally intense material activates the brain, when it should be winding down. Gentle, familiar, or slightly boring reading works far better. Physical books are especially helpful because they don't emit circadian disrupting light. Reading becomes a quiet handoff from conscious thought to rest, a mental activity that occupies attention without exciting it. Choose content that soothes, not stirs. Gentle stories lead to gentle sleep. Progressive muscle relaxation offers another powerful pathway into deep rest. By tensing and releasing muscle groups one by one, starting at the toes and slowly moving upward, you release physical tension stored throughout the body. Tense each area for about 5 seconds, then let go completely, noticing the contrast. This practice not only relaxes muscles, but also gives the mind a simple calming task, pulling attention away from worry or planning. Physical release supports mental release. Orderly relaxation spreads through the system. Gratitude. Journaling before bed shifts the brain's focus from stress to safety. Writing down just 3 things you're grateful for activates neural networks linked to contentment rather than anxiety. Studies show this simple practice measurably improves sleep quality by reducing rumination. The final thoughts of your waking day influence how your brain transitions into sleep. Choosing appreciation as that final focus creates fertile ground for rest. Gratitude softens the nervous system. Calm invites depth. Acknowledgement settles the mind. Gratitude gently prepares the nervous system for peace. One of the most powerful yet overlooked tools for better deep sleep actually begins in the morning. Exposure to natural sunlight within the first 30 minutes after waking strengthens your circadian rhythm, making deep sleep far more likely 12 to 16 hours later. This effect is highly time specific. Afternoon light does not provide the same benefit. Even 5 to 10 minutes outdoors is enough to send a clear signal to your internal clock. Morning light sets the tempo for the entire day, creating biological momentum that naturally carries you toward rest at night. Light in the morning teaches your body when darkness should arrive. The way you use your bedroom also shapes how easily sleep comes. When the bedroom is reserved primarily for sleep and intimacy, the brain forms strong associations between that space and rest. When work, entertainment, or constant stimulation move into bed, those associations weaken. The mind learns that the bed is a place for alertness rather than surrender. Environmental cues are powerful. Repetition strengthens meaning. A space dedicated to rest becomes an invitation to sleep the moment you enter it. Weekend sleep patterns matter more than many people realize. Dramatically shifting your schedule on days off creates what researchers call social jet lag, a misalignment between biological time and social time. Sleeping until late morning or noon may feel restorative in the moment, but it disrupts circadian rhythms, making Sunday night restless and Monday morning heavy. Maintaining a consistent wake time, even on weekends, supports the internal rhythm that allows deep sleep to emerge naturally. Biology favors regularity over variation. Predictability creates stability. What modern science now makes clear is that deep sleep is not achieved through a single perfect night. It is built through consistency, small adjustments across many areas, light exposure, temperature, timing, stress management, and environment compound into meaningful improvements in sleep depth. Restoration is not dramatic or forceful, it is steady, intentional, sustainable. Depth grows where habits align with biology. You may be feeling sleepy now. That is exactly as it should be. There is nothing to do and nowhere to go. Breathe slowly. Feel the rhythm. Breath moves in. Breath moves out. Day becomes night. Night becomes day. Seasons turn. Years pass. Life continues carried gently forward by these quiet cycles. All things move in circles, in cycles, in endless rhythms, like your breath, inhale, exhale, a small, intimate cycle nested within the vast movement of the universe. You are part of that same eternal motion. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Everything unfolds in its own perfect order, like planets silently rotating in their orbits, unhurried and unresisting, simply existing. We are almost there now. Deep sleep is the most powerful New Year's resolution because it makes every other resolution possible. Want to exercise more. Sleep improves motivation, performance, and recovery. Want to eat better. Sleep regulates appetite, hormones, and self control. Want to be more present. Sleep restores attention and emotional regulation. Want to learn something new. Sleep consolidates learning and memory. Every meaningful goal rests on a foundation that only sleep can provide. A resolution list could begin and end with one line: prioritize deep sleep, and everything else follows. Unlike most resolutions, prioritizing sleep is not about adding more to your life, but about subtracting less late night screen time, fewer evening commitments, less caffeine. That makes it both easier and harder. Easier because you are not forcing new behaviors, harder because subtraction feels like loss. Yet, what you gain: energy, clarity, health, emotional balance far outweighs what you give up. The return is asymmetric. Small sacrifices of evening hours create large improvements across every area of life. Most resolutions fail because they demand resources that sleep deprivation drains: willpower, energy, focus, and emotional stability. Trying to change while exhausted is like running with weights on your legs. You may move forward briefly through determination alone, but it is unnecessarily difficult and rarely sustainable. Sleep removes the weights. When you are well rested, action comes more easily. Choices become wiser, and transformation becomes possible. Sleep first makes everything else achievable. Deep sleep is also remarkably democratic. It does not require money, special equipment, or ideal circumstances. While some people face greater challenges than others, most improvements in deep sleep come from free choices, consistent timing, darkness, cool temperatures, clear boundaries with screens. You do not need a gym membership or an expensive diet. You need a commitment to conditions that support processes your body already knows how to perform. Prioritizing sleep is a quiet decision to honor what your body has always needed, regardless of what the world demands. Cultures that reward constant availability over well being produce burnout, not excellence. Choosing sleep can take courage in environments that mistake rest for weakness, but biology does not negotiate with cultural expectations. Your body needs what it needs, and this choice is yours to make quietly, without announcement, in service of your future health. Deep sleep is ultimately a practice of trust, trusting that tomorrow will arrive, that it is safe to lose consciousness, that your body knows how to restore itself. For those living with anxiety or trauma, that trust may not come easily. Yet building the capacity for sleep is also building the capacity for safety surrender and letting go. These lessons extend far beyond the bedroom. Learning how to rest teaches you about control, about release, and about allowing natural processes to unfold without force. Measuring success with sleep is different from measuring success with other resolutions. You cannot try harder to sleep. Effort creates arousal. Success comes from creating the right conditions and then allowing not demanding. This is a different kind of discipline, one rooted in trust rather than willpower, and it is a lesson that quietly reshapes everything else in life. Not everything in life improves through force. Some things require space, patience, and permission to emerge. Sleep teaches this lesson quietly. Surrender invites wisdom. When you stop pushing and start allowing, restoration begins. Children understand this instinctively. They run until tired, then fall into deep, effortless sleep. Somewhere along the path to adulthood, many people lose that rhythm, absorbing the idea that sleep is optional, indulgent, even something to feel guilty about. Prioritizing deep sleep is not learning a new skill, it is returning to a wisdom your body never forgot. It is unlearning cultural messages that contradict biology. When natural rhythms return, it feels like coming home. The body remembers what the mind was taught to ignore. Biology knows what culture often denies. Deep sleep connects you to all living things. Every animal sleeps in some form. Even the simplest organisms follow cycles of rest and activity. Sleep existed long before complex thought or modern society. When you honor sleep, you align yourself with a fundamental intelligence shared across life itself. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are acknowledging your place in the living world, where rest is essential for survival. You belong to nature's rhythm, not outside of it. Relationships change when sleep becomes a priority. Well rested people listen more deeply, empathize more easily, and navigate conflict with greater calm. Appreciation flows more naturally. Poor sleep, by contrast, makes the nervous system reactive, short tempered, and disconnected. Choosing sleep is choosing presence. It is choosing to show up fully for others. This is not selfishness, it is creating the conditions that allow genuine connection. Love requires presence. Presence requires rest. Rest makes love possible. Creativity also depends on deep sleep. Throughout history, writers, artists, scientists, and innovators have protected their sleep, knowing that insight does not respond to pressure. Inspiration cannot be forced, but it can be invited. Deep sleep clears mental space where new ideas can form and connect. Your creative potential waits on the other side of restoration. Clarity arises when effort steps aside. Rest reveals what strain conceals. Aging well is deeply linked to sleep quality maintained over decades. The difference between vitality and decline often reflects years of accumulated sleep debt. Protecting deep sleep in your 30s and 40s shapes health in your 70s and 80s. This is not just a resolution for this year, it is an investment in the quality of the years still ahead. Deep sleep is an act of radical self respect. It says, my body matters, my health matters, my future matters. In cultures that celebrate exhaustion and self sacrifice, choosing sleep is choosing yourself not out of selfishness, but out of sustainability. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Rest enables service. Restoration enables contribution. Caring for yourself makes caring for others real. The best time to begin prioritizing sleep is always now, not next week, not next year, not when life becomes easier. That moment rarely arrives. Starting tonight with consistency rather than perfection creates momentum. Small changes compound quietly over weeks and months into meaningful transformation. Begin where you are. Take one step, repeat it. Let rhythm replace struggle. Let rest rebuild what effort cannot. Change doesn't arrive through sudden breakthroughs. It emerges through repetition. And when viewed through that lens, deep sleep may be the most powerful New Year resolution you could choose. Not because it sounds ambitious or impressive, but because it quietly supports everything else. Health relationships, performance, learning, longevity, creativity, emotional stability, all of it rests on one foundation. Change that foundation, and everything built upon it begins to shift. Start here, start tonight. Rest first. Deep sleep carries a paradox that challenges modern achievement driven thinking. It teaches that doing nothing can be the most productive act of all. Hours that appear inactive are biologically a period of intense repair and renewal. You don't earn rest by exhausting yourself. Rest is what makes meaningful effort possible. The sequence matters. Cultures that understand this cultivate healthier, more fulfilled people. Cultures that forget it produce entire populations running on empty, wondering why success feels hollow. Rest is not a reward for work. Rest enables work. Rest enables life. When you lie down to sleep tonight, you're participating in one of the oldest rituals on earth. For billions of years, life has moved in cycles, activity followed by rest expansion, followed by restoration. This rhythm is not weakness. It is how life sustains itself. Your DNA encodes it, your cells anticipate it, your brain depends on it. Going to sleep is not wasting time. It is honoring the deepest intelligence your body carries. Seen this way, sleep transforms from an obligation into a practice, from a necessary inconvenience into a sacred tradition that connects you to all living things across time. The season when people often make this resolution, the holidays, can complicate sleep. Stress increases, routines change, travel, social commitments, and expectations pile up. Yet this same season also offers rare permission to pause, time away from work, space to reset patterns, an opening to choose differently. Use it wisely. The most meaningful gift you can give yourself doesn't come in wrapping paper. Rest is not indulgence. Rest is not selfishness. Rest is an acknowledgement of your humanity, your biology, your limits, and your needs. Give yourself that gift. You deserve it. Your body depends on it. Sleep tracking can be useful for some and counterproductive for others. If you use data, look for trends over weeks, not perfection on any single night. One poor night means very little in the long arc. Patterns are what matter. For some people, however, tracking creates pressure, the sense that sleep must be performed correctly. That pressure alone can disrupt rest. In those cases, your daytime experience is a better guide than any device. Energy, clarity, mood, resilience. These signals tell the truth. Technology can inform, but it should never dominate. Your lived experience matters most. Trust it. Listen to what your body is telling you and respond with care. Teaching children to respect sleep may be one of the most powerful gifts a parent can offer. When families protect consistent bedtimes, sufficient sleep duration, and calming evening routines, children don't just sleep better in the moment, they internalize patterns that often last a lifetime. More importantly, they absorb a deeper message that rest matters, that health is not secondary to productivity, and that caring for oneself is a priority, not a luxury. Children learn far more from what they observe than from what they are told. When you model rest, they learn that rest is worthy of respect. Equally important is learning to forgive yourself for the years when sleep was neglected. Many people carry quiet guilt, wondering what damage was done by long stretches of exhaustion. While chronic sleep loss does have consequences, the human body also holds an extraordinary capacity to recover. Choosing to prioritize sleep now still delivers meaningful benefits, regardless of what came before. Regret does not heal, the body conditions do. Your biology is not waiting to punish you, it is waiting for permission to repair. What matters most is forward motion. Begin again. You can always begin again. Support from others makes sleep prioritization sustainable. When friends and family understand that sleep is a commitment, not an excuse, they are more likely to support it rather than challenge it. Some relationships may push back against new boundaries, earlier evenings, fewer late night plans, reduced availability. Healthy connections adjust. Those that don't may need to be reconsidered. Protecting sleep is sometimes an act of self protection, and that is not selfish, it is necessary. Boundaries don't weaken connection, they make it possible to sustain. Deep sleep is not just about feeling rested, it is how you become more of the person you want to be. Patience grows when the nervous system is restored. Kindness flows more easily when exhaustion isn't draining emotional reserves. Presence becomes possible when attention is no longer scattered by fatigue. Whatever you value, sleep supports it. Whatever you are working toward, sleep brings it closer. Adequate rest doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you already are beneath the weight of exhaustion. Each night presents a quiet choice, not whether you will sleep eventually, everyone does, but whether you will honor sleep as the foundation it truly is, whether you will protect it, prioritize it, and create the conditions that allow it to restore you fully. This choice, repeated night after night, shapes your health over years. Small decisions, profound consequences, consistent actions, transformative outcomes. The choice is always yours. Choose rest. Choose restoration. Choose yourself. So, why is deep sleep the best New Year resolution? Because it isn't really a resolution at all. It's a return to what your body has always required, to what ancient wisdom understood, to what modern life encouraged you to forget. Deep sleep is coming home to your biology, your limits, and your truth that rest enables everything. Start here, and everything else follows. Sleep first, live better. And with that, our quiet journey through sleep science and New Year reflection comes gently to an end. We've moved from understanding what deep sleep is, those slow brain waves that cellular repair, to seeing what it does for memory, emotion, immunity, and healing. We've explored why it underlies nearly every goal we set, from the glymphatic system, clearing toxins, to the way rest teaches surrender, trust, and respect for natural rhythms. Deep sleep is both a practical necessity and a profound teacher, reminding us that not everything improves through force, and that sometimes the most powerful change happens when we finally allow the body to do what it already knows how to do. Deep sleep gently reminds us that we are living systems, not machines designed for endless output. Some of the most important work your body will ever do happens in silence, in darkness, in the hours when effort disappears. While the conscious mind steps aside, repair learning and balance quietly take over. Nothing is forced, nothing is rushed. Life knows how to restore itself when given the space. In these final moments, take a slow, unhurried breath. Feel how every system in your body is already cooperating without instruction. Billions of cells aligning, communicating, adjusting, just as they have every night of your life. You are part of a rhythm far older than thought, shared by every living organism that has ever rested under a turning sky. Awareness itself softens now. The boundaries between thought and sensation begin to blur. You don't need to follow ideas anymore. Let them drift like distant stars, present, but no longer demanding attention. Whether consciousness fades into sleep or simply grows quiet, both are forms of rest. There is nothing left to accomplish tonight. No insight to chase. No improvement to make. Restoration does not require participation. Your body already understands the process. Let gravity feel kinder. Let the surface beneath you carry the weight you no longer need to hold. If sleep arrives, allow it unremarkable, natural, inevitable. If it doesn't remain here in this calm pause, knowing that stillness itself is beneficial. Either way, the night is working in your favor. Tomorrow will come when it comes. The science, the goals, the effort, all of that can wait. This moment belongs only to rest, to safety, to quiet continuity. Deep sleep is not something you achieve. It is something you permit. Not a task, but a return. And tonight, returning is enough. Good night.